turn the gravity on high.
Let me put that away. All right. Our next performer is all ready for you. Gartrell.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a trouble doing magic for a mixed audience because some of the magicians know how it's done, and some of the people who aren't magicians aren't enthusiastic about the things that the magicians kind of like. So I decided I'd split the difference. Tonight I'm going to explain how all of the tricks I do are done, and we'll have some fun that way. And tonight I'll be using a technique some of you may have heard of. Tonight I'll actually be using my sleeves to do the magic. Now, some guys will use one sleeve, some guys will use two sleeves. I didn't want to take any chances, so tonight I actually brought an extra sleeve with me just in case. Now this is your Garden Variety 3-button sleeve, and as you can see there is nothing up my sleeve. This is the front of the sleeve, this is the back of the sleeve, but really it's what's inside that counts. If I reach in and pull a little bit of what's inside and place it into a warm, dark place, it'll start to grow into a coin. Now the problem is no one ever believes me when I say I got a coin to come out of a sleeve, so I always have to send it back. Now you may not see it get there, but it gets there just the same. And it's pretty simple once you know the principle, how it starts at the shoulder and works its way down. Or if I was more specific, you could explain it how it starts up here at the shoulder, works its way down the cuff, and finally comes out at the end. That's the basic principle behind how it works. So remember, next time you see a magician take a coin, give it a magical pass and make it completely disappear. He didn't really make it disappear. It's actually just hiding up his sleeve. And you can call him out. You can say, oh, I know how you did it. It started at the shoulder, worked its way down the cuff, and finally came out the end. Of course, if I was a real magician, I wouldn't even need to use my sleeves. I could just place the coin over here and it would pop up over here. Or I could drop it over here and it would pop up over here. Or I take it, put it there, and you think it's here until I put it there, and then it comes out over here. You know what? Now you guys want to see the one where I take the coin, give it a magical pass, and make it completely disappear. But of course we know it doesn't go up this sleeve, it doesn't go up this sleeve, it actually just works its way into this sleeve right here. Alright, I appreciate the applause, but I have to be honest, I am breaking one of the cardinal rules of magic, so I really shouldn't be accepting applause for that. It is against the rules to reveal how magic tricks are done, and I was just kidding. It's not done with sleeves at all. This trick does not involve any sleeves. No, in fact, this trick is actually all done with mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah, magicians use these bad boys all the time. Let me show you what you can do. It's really pretty. If you take the coin and you put it on the mirror, it's so close to its own reflection that a good magician can pull off both the coin and the reflection. Now I've doubled my money, which is great, but only one of these coins is real. That's this one. The other's just an illusion and has no substance. Now you might be wondering where the coin goes in a trick like this. In most, it goes in the mirror. But in this one, it goes back up the sleeve. In fact, sometimes I can even make the mirror disappear as easily as I make the coins. But that's only possible if it didn't go up this sleeve and it didn't go up this sleeve. And it actually worked its way underneath of this sleeve. I do that to show that I don't use sleeves and I really do use mirrors. Remember, that's how I got this coin. But it's just an illusion and really belongs back in the mirror. If I tried that with this coin, well, it wouldn't work. It's because this coin's real. If I want to make this coin disappear, I don't use mirrors. I use magic to send it back into the sleeve for a big finish. And when I say a big finish, I mean it. Now, this is one of my favorite tricks. I've done it several times in the past for various events, but even though it's one of my favorite tricks, it's not one of my foundational tricks. See, one of my mentors who meant a lot to me when I was coming up in magic was a gentleman by the name of Jim Guffey. He was my grandfather, and he was a cowboy out in Nebraska for the majority of his life, but he knew a couple of magic tricks, and I saw them a lot growing up. And I saw this trick that he did so many times as I was growing up, and I never figured out how he did it. But when he died 6 years ago, he actually left me the instructions as a special way to remember him. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share it with you tonight. He was always willing to make quite a big bet on this trick. And this is a photo he gave me. It's him performing for Walt Disney. I don't know if you guys, he actually got to do that one time back in the 40s. It was a real special thing. He talked about it a lot. Now, because this is his effect, I like to perform it in much the way he did. It's a little bit different of a performing style than I have. But he would say something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to do a choose a card trick." Now, I know that doesn't sound much different than a pick a card trick, but when you're choosing cards, you're subject to outside influences. Look at the cards I've got here tonight. The 4, the Jack, the 9, and some other cards. The idea here is that by choosing a card, you're going to be subject to outside influences in a way that you're not when you're picking a card face down. But look at the way I've laid them out. The 4 is so close to you, you'd want to just naturally reach out and take it. But maybe you know that I know that you would reach and wouldn't want to work too hard, so I'd make you naturally draw your eye to the 2, all the way over here because you'd try to get me. Or maybe you thought you're a good poker player, so you'd naturally want to reach out and take the king, the highest card on the table. But notice the king is looking at the 2, which is pointing to the 4, and the jack is looking at the 4. They're looking away from each other, naturally drawing your eye to the jack. Or perhaps you thought by never bringing up the 9, I would subconsciously lead you to pick the 9. But now that I've mentioned that, that theory's out. So there's only one thing left to do. Sir, would you please choose one of these cards? Please take it off the table. It's your choice. The 4. Now, did you look at that photograph of my grandfather very carefully?
Not at all, no.
Did you notice there was a playing card in the photo, though, right?
I didn't notice it.
Let me show you a little closer. In that photograph of my grandfather performing for Walt Disney, there was a card he used when he did that trick. And it's the same card we're using tonight.
That's correct.
The 4 of spades.
Wow.
As I said, this is my grandfather's trick, and I hope to be half as good of a magician as him one day. But hopefully so. Now, I've got one last special thing I'd like to share with you all tonight. But in order for this to work, I need to set one thing up real quick. I didn't set this up before. I need to just put one thing ready. Can you just put your, just like that, perfect stand, just like that. Now, in order for this next trick to work, I do need a brave volunteer from the audience. Oh, sir, didn't even see you there. Thank you so much for volunteering. Please stand up. Everyone, give him a huge round of applause. Fantastic. Why don't you have a seat right here for me? Fantastic. Now, are you wearing a ring by chance?
No.
No. Could you get one in the next 5 seconds?
Sure.
Ta-da. Fantastic. Now, this will work perfectly. This is what we call in the magic business a jumpy ring. It's got a little bit of weight at the top, but it's got a hole in the middle, and that allows some really neat things to happen. You can see it actually jumps from one hand to the other. You couldn't see that, I covered it up. I'll do it a little slower. You see, if you put it on the middle finger here, you can make it jump 1, 2, to the index finger, and back to the middle finger. It's pretty quick. Here, hold on to that for a second. I wanted to show you guys this. I don't know if I'm from Virginia. You can probably tell by the accent I'm a little bit from south of here. And there's this new thing they're doing at the jewelry stores in Virginia. It's really pretty. And they have these ropes. And what they do is you can, when you borrow a ring at the jewelry store, so you can look at it real close, they'll stick it onto the rope so you can like look at it, but you can't accidentally walk out of the store with it. You know what I'm talking about? So I walked out with one of the ropes because they weren't watching that. Now, sir, this ring has a hole in it, right?
Right.
But not on the edges, only in the middle.
Right.
Well, sometimes, if you're really good, you can still take advantage of that hole in the middle. Again, that was unfair. You didn't really know what to look for, so we'll do it a little bit slower here. Here, blow on that for me. That's the moment that it actually happens. I can tell he's not believing me. Here, what we're going to... Check, pull on that. It's really on there. I'm not cheating you, right? Okay. A lot of people think... Check, see? So a lot of people think it's when you blow on it, but it's not. It's actually when you wiggle the fibers. That's what I was doing earlier. I showed you that. You can actually slip it right through the fibers, but you've only got a second to put it back on the fibers before they close up. You've got to move quick. Thank you. Now, I want to try one last thing with me. Can you hold on to the ends of the rope for me? Sure. Perfect, just like that. Now, again, you can feel me tugging on it, right?
Right.
Here's what I need you to do. Pull 1, 2. You have to pull a lot harder than that. Come on, there we go. Now, you felt that come off, right? Here, blow on it for me.
But it came off.
I'm just going to see how many times he's going to do it now. No, something really weird happens when you blow on it. It doesn't just come off, it actually completely disappears. Now you notice I have a box here. I don't know if you guys have been watching this box closely. I haven't touched it since the trick began, but would you please take a look at that box? Open up inside and show everyone what's in there. Nothing? What? Oh. Wait. There was one thing my grandpa always told me when I was doing magic tricks. He said you should always have at least one more trick up your sleeve. Could you hold your hands like this for me? And maybe we can have one more thing up our sleeve. Is that it? Give a round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much for letting us honor your ribbon. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gartrell the Great. Thank you all so much for coming out.